Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel, and I cannot believe that I'm doing this again so soon after George. It's taken me a while to decide whether I want to do pregnancy updates again this time round or not, and I think that's because George, it just still feels like George is so young, and it feels like not long ago that I was doing them before, so I think that's why. But this is our third baby, and I just feel that if I don't do it, then I will regret it, because I love looking back on my old updates of when I was pregnant with George. I am actually in my second trimester already. As I said, it's taken me a while to decide that I want to do this. I'm not going to update like weekly or anything like that. I'm just going to update as and when. I'll probably do like a first trimester, second trimester and third trimester, definitely. And then if there's anything in between, any updates at all, then obviously I'll do that as well. So I'm so excited. Yeah, as I said, I'm a few weeks into my second trimester, but I want to recap on the whole of my first trimester. I don't think it was too unsimilar to when I was pregnant with George, but there are a few things that were different. So first of all, I will start with how we found out. Obviously George has only just turned 1 like a month ago, so he wasn't even 1 when we found out, and it came as a little bit of a surprise. We weren't trying, but we weren't not, and it just happened super quickly, so it was a little bit of a surprise, but we've always wanted a third, so obviously we're just over the moon. And we did always say with our third as well that we want it to be closer in age with George, because with Jack it just took a little bit longer than what we would have liked. So it's really nice, and also it gets them out of the way quicker. And also everyone seems to be telling me that going from 2 to 3, especially when they're like younger in age, is just so easy. So fingers crossed it is, because I'm a little bit more nervous this time round of going from 2 to 3 than I was going from 1 to 2. Don't know why. I think just the number 3 sounds a bit like, we're outnumbered by children. So I think that's probably it. So yeah, we found out. So I had like a week where things kept happening. Just things that I was like, that's just strange. I didn't say anything to Tom. So the first thing was things like, just little things like cleaning my teeth. I went to clean my teeth and my gums were bleeding. And I kind of thought, that's strange. That only usually happens when I'm pregnant. Didn't think anything else of it. And then another thing was car sickness. I get really car sick quite easily anyway, but when I'm pregnant it's like really, really bad, really bad. And I was just getting really car sick really easily. And also when I'm a tiny bit hungry, I just feel really, really sick. And again, both of my other pregnancies were pretty much the same. So those were like the main things. Oh, and another weird one that I don't know if I've spoken about before on my other pregnancy, but I'm sure it happened, is obviously when you are pregnant you have extra blood in your body. So when I go to blow my nose, there's always like a little bit of blood in there. I know it sounds disgusting, but that only ever happens when I'm pregnant, and that was happening as well. So all these little things were going on for like a week or so, and then I told Tom, and he was like, oh well, just see how it goes, da, da, da. So then we left it another week, and all these things were still happening. I was constantly hungry, the sickness was bad. I was like, Tom, I have to do a test. So he went out, got a test, and for the first time doing a test, for some reason I felt a little bit nervous, but I think it's because I just absolutely knew it was going to be a positive. Like, I just knew that's what it was going to be. So yeah, I went in the toilet, came out, and it was a positive, and obviously we're so happy. So that's how I found out. It wasn't like, it's pretty much like how I found out with the other 2. I just had my suspicions. I seem to know my body quite well, I think. So any little thing that happens, I'm like, oh, yeah, I think that's what it is. So yeah, that was how we found out. Now symptoms, again, like I say, there's been a few that have been different, but in general they've all been like the typical first trimester symptoms. So with my sickness, I would say it was really bad from weeks 5 up until weeks 9 or 10, and then it started dying down a bit, although I do still get it now and I'm in my second trimester, but it's like a different kind of sickness, but I will go on to explain that in another video. But yeah, for my first trimester it was just constant like nausea, like you're always feeling seasick, like that constant seasickness, and I always felt it if I was a tiny bit hungry, so then I would eat, but I was constantly feeling hungry, so it was like a battle against feeling sick and then eating, and yeah, it was like this constant battle between eating and feeling sick. It's really hard to explain. And then if you eat too much you feel sick as well, and I know that's what I was like with George. So yeah, that wasn't nice. I was only actually sick about 2 or 3 times in my first trimester, I think, but in general it was just like that horrible nauseous feeling. But yeah, the constant hunger. Honestly, I think in this pregnancy I probably put the most weight on in this first trimester than I did in my other 2. I feel like this was the worst pregnancy for just that constant hunger feeling. And again, that died down at the same time as around the sickness at weeks 9 or 10, so that's good. And hopefully the weight that I put on in the first trimester will like slow down now, and I think it has, because my appetite's like, I get days now where I'm super hungry, but in general it's pretty much the same as what it was previously. Oh, and another thing as well is the bloating, and again that's one of the first signs that made me suspect that I was pregnant as well. Just the like, I literally looked like 4 months pregnant when I was only a few weeks. I was just so bloated, really uncomfortably bloated. Again though, that's the same with my other 2 pregnancies, and it's a really normal thing. I feel like I'm an expert at it now it's baby number 3. I feel like all these things you're so used to, and I think because with George my pregnancy wasn't that long ago, it's all really familiar. I found that with George I forgot a lot of the things in my pregnancy, like with Jack, so when it was with George it all felt a bit new again. This one's so close, it's all like, yeah, it all just feels normal and you get to know it. One thing that has been slightly different, like I know it's a like typical first trimester symptom, but for me, out of my other 2 pregnancies it's been the worst, is the sore boobs. And like with the other ones I had it, but not to the extent that you hear some women get it, where it's like super sore and they grow massive. Yeah, they've been like out of control this time. They've been really sore, they've grown huge already. Like in my other 2 pregnancies I don't even think they were this size by the end, and like they're massive already, it's ridiculous. So I'm a bit worried about how big they're going to end up, and I think it could be because it wasn't really that long ago that I was breastfeeding George. So I think because I haven't had like a big gap between pregnancies and having babies and breastfeeding, that they've just yeah, they kind of just know what they're doing. That's why I think it is this time round. So cravings, my cravings this time round haven't like, I don't feel like I've had loads, but the one main craving I had in the beginning was for donuts, and not any donut, it had to be Krispy Kreme donuts. In general I do tend to crave, actually no, I've craved a mixture of sweet and savoury things, but I usually do at some point in all my pregnancies crave something like sweet. I think with George it was carrot cake at one point, but this time it has been donuts. And yeah, obviously I had a few, I didn't go mad. This pregnancy I have found myself just like, I'm just really trying to enjoy it because I know it's going to be my last one. So obviously I'm watching what I'm eating and trying to eat healthy and exercise, but I am going to let myself indulge if I want, because it's my last pregnancy and I want to enjoy it. I don't want to restrict myself from things that I want. So yeah, donuts, and that's been my only craving really. Even now I'm not getting that many cravings. So that has been like in general how my first trimester was. That's like the main things. Can't think of anything else really. The only other thing that happened towards the end of my first trimester was that I ended up going to A&E. I think I was around 9 or 10 weeks. Was it around 9 or 10 weeks? I think so. And I was basically getting, and I know this is like, again, a normal thing, and I did have it with my other 2 pregnancies, but you get the strong period pains, which is completely normal. It's everything just going on in there and changing and stretching, which I was getting, and that wasn't worrying me. But then I was getting these, like, wasn't period pains, it was like strong tummy cramps, and it was more around the middle of my tummy, and it went on for like a day or so, and I was a bit like, oh, that's strange. And I remember getting it slightly with Jack, and I had to go to hospital for that, but I can't remember the ins and outs of it. Anyway, I told Tom that I've been getting these, and I don't know if you know, but I have had a miscarriage previously. It was before I fell pregnant with George, so I was obviously worried and concerned because I have experienced that before, sadly. So Tom was like, look, I think even if it's nothing, it's best to get it checked out. So we went to A&E, and we were literally, it was a nightmare. We were in there all day. They didn't really rush to see us. It was an absolute nightmare. Anyway, it turns out what they think it was a urine infection, so they put me on antibiotics for that. Nothing serious. Obviously the baby's fine. They managed to scan the baby, see the heartbeat, so everything's good. But yeah, I just thought it was best to go and be seen. I wasn't like thinking it was a miscarriage. I wasn't getting bleeding or anything like that, and the pains were nothing like that I had with my miscarriage. But like Tom says, if you don't get it checked out and something happens, then you'll regret it. So definitely did it for the best. And yeah, like I said, they think it was a urine infection, but I don't feel that they were 100% sure. I think they just kind of guessed and gave me the antibiotics, and yeah, that was that. So yeah, that has been like a little summary of my first trimester. I hope you've enjoyed it. Like I said, I am going to update you. I will be doing first, second and third trimester, and then anything in between I will do as well. Yeah, so again, I'm so excited that baby number 3 is on the way, and I can't believe I'm doing this so soon after having George. But yeah, it's super exciting. So I will see you all soon. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.